So now this class will be discussing on the how we can consume the data, utilize the data for better representation, for creating better visualizations. Okay, I have one file with me. So let's get one of the file I have here for analyzing visualizations. So this is AdventureWorks online sales. This is a file which has AdventureWorks online sales. Let's open this file. Okay, so here we have customer related information, promotions, then geography information, order date, order due date, and then price related information. We will take this file into Spotfire and we'll see how we create visualizations out of that. So I have that file already with me, so I will take that file into Spotfire. I will create an analysis on top of that file. So yeah, I'm importing the file into Spotfire, so I'll get the import window now where I can adjust metadata of my file. Metadata like data types, header information, having or including or excluding specific columns, or ignoring empty or cleaning the file. Okay, so now check out the data types assumptions made by Spotfire on this file. Okay, so this is string, this is customer date of birth. So date of birth is not actually a string, it is a date column. So change this to date. Then string, fine. String, integer, yeah, annual salary is integer, fine. Then all strings, order date, dates are in date format, fine. Mostly check for dates whether they are in date format and numbers are in number formats or not, fine. So this file is okay, except that the customer's date of birth is not taken as date. Now I change the metadata. Okay. So now Spotfire is importing the data into analysis. So it's reading data. So you can see how many rows are being imported totally. Once we have the data here, the number of rows imported into Spotfire will be displayed. 60,398 rows. So to just cross check, we can always open the file, or if we are loading from a table, to select count of the table and see what is the maximum. So 60399, excluding header, it will be 60398, which is tallying with this number. So we got all the rows into Spotfire. Okay, this is status bar. This is very important when you get the data. So it says 23 columns. Yes, my base file has 23 columns. Okay, good. I got all the columns and all the rows. Check out now the left side of the bar. Left side says there is a problem while data is imported into Spotfire. So click on that, details. What is the problem? There are some inconsistencies and some data might be lost. Okay, why? So you expand this, it will give you more detailed history, more detailed description, which will be very accurate. So it says the column customer date of birth contains incorrect values. This year seems correct, the date of birth, it is in year, month, day notation. Okay. Switch this visualization into table. That's the first thing. Once after you analyze this information, the overall information, switch the visualization tab into table and do a sanity check, a preliminary check to see everything is correct or not. Okay, fine, I got all the data, but you see here customer date of birth is blank. This column is blank. I didn't get any data into nothing. Fine, what about other columns? Do I have any such columns like that where data is gone? No. So all the column seems to be perfect except my date column, the customer date of birth column. The possible reason could be while importing the data, I manually change the data type from string to date. Might be this Spotfire import window couldn't do that operation, couldn't perform that conversion operation. It might have failed. So when it fails conversion, the default behavior is it will ignore the failure. It will ignore the failure and still push the rows forward. So we don't see any data now. But this may not be the behavior I want. I want date of birth, customer's date of birth here. So what is the other way of doing? Now forget about this data table creation. Let's delete this. So there are other ways of converting that field into date, or for a matter of fact any other field. Bring the file, again. This time I'm not doing any changes. I am taking the data as is. Let's not touch this import window. Switch to table view. Okay, I see dates now. All dates have come here. But if I have it in string, the problem is if I have to build hierarchies on this date, or I have to do any date based calculations like finding the age by subtracting it with the current year, taking the year of this date and the current year, I will always give me the age. But if I have to do such kind of date operations, I will not be able to do as long as it is in string format. Okay, so what are the other ways in which we can do this? By column formatting. Yeah, so at the time of creating data table we couldn't do that, so once after having data table we can still do that by getting into column properties. Okay, check out here column properties. So you see formatting, so customer name is a string, so string types will not have much formatting options, just they will be played as plain text apart from writing expressions to extract any particular interested string out of them. Okay, these all are order date. See, for a date type we can have specified format for date row, date column. Now that our customer, since customer date of birth is also date, since it is in string, we don't get those options. So that's a disadvantage of having any particular data type in standard string format. We don't have much flexibility. Okay, but can we change the data type here? No, this will not allow to change data type here. So what we do, we create a separate column, calculate column, just copy of the date of birth column, but typecasted. Go to conversion functions. Conversion functions, what we want to convert that to date. Okay, first get. So every function here will have a small short description and an example of how to use that expression, use that function. Very self-explanatory. Okay, insert this function. Now I have date function. In that date function, insert this customer date of birth, which is in string type now. Okay. Okay. Now I give it a name, but I already have customer date of birth column, so I will not name it here. I can do the naming here as we done in the last class. Now take this column as is. The date is now it is calculated column, but the data type is date. What is the value in it? It is still customer date of birth. I did see sample result converted month, date and year US format. You can decide on the format too. here itself. Now that I have this new column with the actual data type, I don't need this, so don't have unnecessary columns. Take it off the visualization. With a name. Now this, I will rename it. I can do that here too. General properties, name, apply. This is now my customer date of birth. It is frozen now. Because, why is it frozen? Earlier it was computed. Because it was pointing to the actual date of birth string type column. Now that I have deleted it, it has taken all the data into this column and made this a self-sufficient. So the column type has changed to frozen from computed. Okay. See that column now? It makes sense. Okay, so these are some of the common type of issues you will be facing while loading the data. So it's always not a smooth work that you get everything as is from the file to the Spotfire, but you can still do workarounds like this. Okay, let's start with the properties. The very basic property, the very first property, general property of any visualization to begin with is column selector. Column selector. Each axis in any visualization, axis or legends will have a column selector. So so the properties which I will be discussing now for though it is a bar chart, but the properties I'll be discussing now will be general across all the visualizations you'll be going forward working with. Okay, so let's start with column selector. So this the window you see here, the drop down window, this is column selector. Okay, so whether it whatever the axis it is, whether it be x-axis or y-axis, most of the properties in this column selector will be same. So what we can do essentially with this column selector, okay, the first most thing is the columns which we'll be using for different axes can be selected with this, whether it be categorical x-axis. So x-axis will be always category axis, which is this horizontal, or value axis. Value axis is always your y-axis, which is vertical. Okay. So what all I can do with this column selectors? So column selectors, along with allowing you to select a column which you want to represent for a category or for a value, will also give you option to select the aggregation for a visualization. So this on this chart, on x-axis for various type of promotions, I want to see sale amount. I want to see sales. See, at the moment I select sales, always my category, so this is movable, draggable, so that you can see what is coming out here on the label section. The column selector. I select the aggregation. So not just the common aggregations like sum or average or count. There are plenty of aggregations which you can use on a particular value column. So mostly on y-axis we will be showing value column which has actual values, measures which will be represented, and on category axis we will be selecting string type columns, thus known as categories. Okay, so now I select one column as sales amount sum, So though there are no discounts, still I have good sales for non-discounted items. I select one more column. Production cost. Production cost compared to sales amount. Again, so each column, so I can select multiple columns with this. Each column will have its own property, its own column selector. Each column I select will have its own column selector and allow you to decide on the aggregation you want to use for that. Decide on the aggregation. So the other feature which is very handy with the column selector is, so this column selector, apart from moving it, movability feature, it can also be expanded. When you expand it, you get two more features. One is edit expression, so you can see what is the expression which is being used here, and not only seeing, you can edit it. So here it is sum. I want to change it to average. I know the function how it is written. Anyways, there is IntelliSense also, which will show me available functions. So no need to bother about syntax. Then click enter, immediately that will change. So there are two things by expanding this column selector you will be getting. One is expression window. Am I recording this? Expression box, and the other is display name. See, okay, average of sales amount. If it is like this, then it is making much more sense, but it is much developer friendly readable. It is developer readable, not end user readable. I want to give it a new name which makes much sense for end user. So average sales. Display name I am changing to average sales. Done. So whatever the changes I do here will get implemented or applied simultaneously, instantly. I don't have any OK button or apply button. So just you select the things or modify the things and then close it. They are applied. Now we saw how we change expressions or the extended properties of this. So apart from this, you can also have with this column selectors on the fly hierarchies. See, I want to show sales by date, order date. So with the help of order date, I can see sales happened for a year and for a quarter. So this is a hierarchy on the fly I am building. Okay, this is not creating an hierarchical column. Remember, this is not creating an hierarchical column. I am not adding any new column to my data table. This is on the fly, only specific to this visualization. With the help of this column selector, I am creating a hierarchy, which is possible. So this is the expression which actually gets written there. So every hierarchical column will have a zoomer. So with this, now this is at the lowest level, year and quarter. Now I want to go a level up, only year, year and quarter. This hierarchy, okay, we'll take it to further, year, month, quarter. Now you see this loom slider has one cut here, so that is for the so this is a 3-level hierarchical column. Okay, so the least level is month, then the middle level is year and quarter. So the first one is year, month, year, quarter and month. Now we have year and quarter, now just year. So every hierarchical column will get this zoom slider.